just about everything from the flooding. Boy, this guy, he just happened to park his truck in the wrong spot at the wrong time. I will say right now, it seems like Tempe might have been the hardest hit out of all Valley cities. Krystal's going to be joining us in a couple of minutes, and she'll let us know. She does a great job of being able to kind of calculate where the worst of it was. But yeah, we've seen the damage, and we see it over and over again in a number of different neighborhoods. Did the storm wake you up last night? Now, I admit I'm on a pretty early schedule. So when you go to bed around 7 o'clock or so, even a 9 o'clock strike of thunder and lightning is possibly going to wake you up. And boy, it was. It was plenty loud out there in the East Valley. This time around, though, it seems like most of the valley got hit, either with the wind or the rain or the lightning. And let me just see here a little bit more about some of what we've got for you. And you can see it was coming down, not sideways, but at a pretty close to a 45-degree angle. There is an indication of really what it was like. And it was really, frankly, quite incredible. So we are definitely not calling this one a non-soon, that's for sure. And our Dominique Newland was out earlier this morning just kind of sizing up some of the places that got hit the hardest. Here was her report.
Good morning. Yeah, we've been in neighborhoods and seen a lot of neighbors with a lot of downed trees, apartment complexes, and now a business. We're here in this parking lot of a church, and you can see this huge downed tree here. Take a look at this trunk, completely uprooted from the ground. And most recently, the landscaping company just now putting this yellow caution tape around it, creating this perimeter here in the parking lot for anyone who does have to come here and park, because this will be a very long cleanup process, and a heavy one too, just due to the weight of this massive tree here that has uprooted. So it shows you really how powerful those winds were last night, how gusty it was. We've also seen quite a few puddles in this parking lot as well, because a lot of that rainfall just off of over here as well, kind of making a makeshift pond over here off to the left. A lot of water. Yep, you can see right here in this little retention pond. So we did receive a healthy amount of rain for sure, especially in this Tempe area. And this is the biggest tree that we've seen so far through the morning. We've been driving around really all day throughout neighborhoods and apartment complexes. And so far, this has been a huge extent of the damage.
A pretty good sense of what Dom was seeing out there. We had some other areas all across town that got hit as well. So be sure to join us for extensive coverage every morning after. Come on in there, Krystal. Give us a ways. Okay, there you go. Now we can see you. So it came in. You were talking yesterday morning about the fact that it looked like the conditions were setting up for what could be a ripe afternoon and evening. When did it really kind of blow into town?
Well, so the interesting about yesterday is that most of the afternoon and early evening, it seemed pretty quiet. Like, the storm activity picked up in the areas we were expecting, the high country, southern Arizona, but the valley seemed relatively quiet. And yesterday, if you were watching on air, we talked about how there was a chance for some strong storms. And then if they did hit, they could pack a punch. But it certainly wasn't a guarantee yesterday. The reason being is a couple things had to come together. Not only did we need that tropical moisture to start to kind of spill in, but we also needed for outflow boundaries from storms to the north and boundaries from storms to the south to actually collide into the valley, which is what eventually happened.
What is an outflow boundary?
Okay, so when you have thunderstorms, I always think of it as like it's almost like if you have a balloon overhead and you pop that balloon, you know how the water all comes rushing down to the ground really fast?
Yes.
Well, when that water comes rushing down, it has to displace the air that was there before the water was, right?
Okay.
So it falls so quickly, but we're doing this on a statewide scale. It falls so quickly that the air that it displaces starts to pick up steam, and it turns into these strong winds that fall to the surface.
But what provides, we know that some of these storms, they generate well south of us. I mean,
Yes.
50 miles south, 100 miles south.
Yeah.
What generates the fuel to bring it all the way into the valley?
Well, there's a couple things at play. Usually it's just the general flow of the pattern of the atmosphere where things are. So yesterday there was two kind of flows. In northern Arizona, there was a flow that was kind of pushing storms from southeast to northwest. So think like White Mountains up to Mojave County was like the general flow. And then in the southern part of the state, the wind flow was more coming up from the south. So south to north flow.
Okay.
So you have these two different kind of just natural pushes of the way the atmosphere is like the ocean, right? So your waves are just going to go in a certain direction depending on the time of day and how the pattern is set up.
So what determines, we were in that and we were chatting earlier this morning, Krystal, we were on the 101 about 8:30 last night when the dust storm rolled in and there was no indication whether or not we were going to get rain. Like you can't see it as someone driving on the freeway,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
So what determines whether or not rain's going to come after or not?
After a dust storm.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, there's a few things. It's little in the woods, so to speak, in terms of meteorology. But when we look at if it's going to rain or not, we're not just looking at what's happening right at the ground, and we're not just looking at what's happening in the clouds, but we're looking at the entire atmospheric profile, we call it, which is why weather balloons are launched, right? Because weather balloons literally are released at the ground and they float up in the air sometimes to 60,000 feet. And the whole time they're floating up through the air, they're gathering data of what is happening at every layer of the atmosphere. And you need for there to be an ample moisture supply all the way from the top of the clouds to the bottom of the ground for you to say, okay, we've got the saturation we need.
Right.
Okay, we've got the energy we need. Okay, the winds are in the right direction. All those things come into play for us to say, yes, it's actually going to storm, which actually I'm glad you asked, because in a moment when we get to today's forecast, that is going to be a key feature in whether or not we get storms again.
Well, it was so interesting as we were driving south. For a lot of you who live out in maybe like the South Scottsdale area by ASU, even through downtown, you couldn't see anything in front of you. And it was so interesting driving on the freeway. Everybody was using their hazards and pulling off to the side, or then the rain came in really heavy right on off the 202 and the 101. But there are times in the past, in years past, where we get the dust storm without the rain. That's why I asked. So it's very interesting. So it's what's happening from the bottom all the way to the top and in the atmosphere.
You need the right conditions all the way up. So sometimes if you just get the blowing dust, it's because you just didn't have enough moisture to tap into necessarily.
Gotcha.
But you just saw those rain totals. Those are from Maricopa County Flood Control District. And you mentioned the Tempe area. If you look at the Tempe area, inch to an inch and a third in terms of totals. Ahwatukee got a good whack of a third to 2/3 of an inch. Where I was in the East Valley in Gilbert, I mean, man, it was dumping there. It was some of the loudest thunder and rain I've heard in a while. It woke me up too, Ron, because I also go to bed nice and early, of course, on our schedule. Then we look up into Scottsdale. Scottsdale, for the most part, didn't get huge numbers, 1/10 of an inch, a little more. But then just nearby, North Phoenix, almost an inch and a half of rain along the 51 at the 101. And then Glendale, an inch and a quarter. So there were quite a few pockets where it just dumped. In part, it was heavy rain. In part, it was slow to move out of areas. So if you get this rain in the same spot for a while, then you're going to get these big totals. But yesterday we talked about this. Historically, anytime we've injected tropical moisture into our monsoon pattern, we've ended up with rain totals of a 1/2 an inch to an inch or more, which is exactly what ended up happening. So let's take a look, guys, at the Fox Vision view right now, because there are already some storms out there, some showers, I should say. And then you can see that plume of rain down to the southeast corner of the state. That is moisture. And I think someone asked in the chat, Louis said, is the storm from Mexico still expected? So the actual storm, Lorena, which is a hurricane, is not going to hit us. But the moisture from it is already spilling in towards us, which is what you're seeing in southeastern Arizona. But there's some of those showers that are falling now in Gila County and then kind of lifting north up towards I-40. It's very patchy, guys, at this point. But that is what we will be watching today, is for storms to yet again fire up in the high country. And then for those storms in southern Arizona to fire up. And can they close in on us yet again?
So as you're rolling through those, Krystal, through the radar, we have a couple of questions in the chat, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One is from Brandy the Bookworm. Why do we still have unhealthy air conditions when it rains so much off and on all night?
You know what? That is a good question, and I'm fully willing to admit sometimes that I'm not sure, because I'm surprised with how much rain we got that it still does look very hazy out there right now. I would say that there's probably some type of inversion that's happening that's maybe impacting us, but yeah, it is interesting that we can still see quite a layer of haze that is hanging over the valley. And I'll be interested to see if the Maricopa County Air Quality Department, if they put anything out about it, because it is pretty interesting. I think we did have an air quality alert in place, so that weighs into it, of course.
And then monsoon wraps up when in September again?
The 30th, the last day of the
30th,
month, it wraps up. So we're in the tail end of it, but man, we've been doing good at the tail end of it this year.
That was from Troy. Yeah, we are. We're gaining some steam towards the end. We're not giving up.
Yeah.
Well, your maps are amazing too. We got about a minute before our break, so go ahead and continue with your coverage.
Okay, so this is just the forecast for the rest of the day, and watch what happens. So as we get into the afternoon, the storms fire up first in the high country and areas to the southeast, which, as we know, down there is where we can kick up winds and dust in the afternoon. So we'll have to watch for that first. But then the big question is going to be, watch as I kind of start to put this into motion. See how those storms are like knocking on our door by 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night? And as we continue, notice the model starts to break a little bit. So we kind of overworked our atmosphere yesterday. Remember what I was talking about, the profile from top to bottom?
Oh, yeah.
The question is, will we moisten up enough? And will we heat up enough for us to get a re-energizing to allow for the next round of storms? So there is a little question mark, but all the ingredients are there. We just need to heat up enough, which is why I want to see like 100 degrees this afternoon. And we need for there to be that lift from the south to start to creep our direction. So those are the two things that myself, the meteorologist Erica Horvatine later today, will be watching closely so that we can keep you guys posted on if we get another round of storms. But right now, there's at least a chance, around 40%, a little bit increasing into the evening. It does seem like right now there's a little more sunshine in parts of the East Valley than, say, the Northwest. And sunshine is warmth, which, like I said, we need. So we'll have to see if maybe they got a better chance.
Well, we're sunny, optimistic people out there in the East Valley. Have
Hoping
you ever
for another
noticed
round of
that?
storms, yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
we
a
are.
sunny disposition. Yes,
That's the word we're
disposition.
looking for. Krystal, it's amazing. Every time you come on, I feel like I learned something new.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you, Krystal.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Well, we most likely will meet here again tomorrow morning with Krystal because it looks like somebody somewhere is going to be getting more of this monsoonal activity. So, Celeste, we're ready to roll right into the break. It's mystery cam time. Look at that town, would ya? Looks like they got the same kind of clouds we've been dealing with. Give us your guesses. And we'll be back after a quick 2-minute break on Fox 10 Talks. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Fox 10 Talks. We're getting a lot of guesses. Curtis jumps right in with Tucson. LOL. Ryan likes Tampa Bay. D. Ong is thinking it's possibly Sarasota. We're getting a lot of Florida guesses today.
Yeah, we are. So we've got Louisiana.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Charles, Louisiana. I'm going to go Florida. Maybe I've never been down to the Keys, but is this what maybe it might look a little like?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you could be on target there, but I see a couple of California guesses from Louie and from Brandon and from some of you others. Patricia says, no, you got to concentrate on Florida. Riza is jumping in. And it's just great. It's great to have you guys with all your guesses. There's Linda.
Oh my goodness, we've got a Celeste Gigi in the chat. North Carolina, she says.
Oh, Celeste Gigi. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Good
we have
guess.
to be able to delineate between that Celeste and the other Celeste, which is you.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if she's new to the chat. If you're new to the chat, let us know where you're watching from. We always love to kind of connect with you guys in that way. Are you ready, Ron?
We are the friendliest chat.
What's your guess?
Let's see. I like all the Florida talk. I'm going to go with Jordan, who says it's the Ringling Causeway Bridge in Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, okay.
That seems very specific.
I know. It said, did you grow
Okay.
up there? What is happening?
All right,
Okay,
here we
here we go. Here is your answer to the mystery cam, and it is Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good.
You guys knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You knew what you were doing.
I wonder how many people we have watching the show from Florida versus how many people maybe used to live there and live here now.
Oh, maybe they
That
moved.
kind of a thing.
They wanted a drier climate.
Correct. And welcome to the monsoon. Okay, so let me just roll this. To me, this is impressive. Enjoy, listen, and watch. That is a great example, not just of the rain, but the wind that was coming down. Celeste, you were driving through the winds. What was going on with you? What time was it and where were you?
So we were on the 101 headed south. It makes a lot of sense when we look at the rain total numbers. Tempe in that South Scottsdale area got a ton of rain, more than an inch in some areas. And so we're on the 101 driving south right through that mid Scottsdale, South Scottsdale area, jumping on the 202 Red Mountain to head west. And that dust storm rolled in and you couldn't see much in front of you. So it was interesting. You saw a lot of people pulling off to the side of the road, turning their lights off. And then you had some people who were driving with their hazards on.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And I thought,
Yes.
has ADOT told us to do that, to put the hazards on while you're driving to let people know, hey, I'm actually maneuvering on the road. I'm on the roadway.
Were you to the point where you were thinking, I might have to pull over?
I was. The wind was blowing
it was that
so hard.
close, right?
We were all going about 35 miles an hour on the freeway.
Wow, yeah.
And so you think, even my kids were like, what is happening? Like everything went dark.
Yeah. I remember years ago on our live stream, Samia Khan.
Yes.
And she's
Love
like, okay, so
Samia.
tell me about it here. And I said, it's going to get hot. May and June get hot. July going to be hot. But starting around August, you're going to be so glad we have this thing called the monsoon. And so for the last couple of years, we just never got it. But boy, now we see the difference. It was 70-something degrees when we went on the air this morning.
Yeah.
Sure, of course, it's more humid, but we need the rain. And to get a temp that's instead of 95 at 5 in the morning, instead we can roll into the, say, 75.
Oh, my
range.
goodness. And the clouds up ahead. It was so nice.
Yeah, it sure was.
We're going to have to check in to see about the air quality because normally all that dust is washed out by the rain that we've received. Unfortunately, most of you stayed relatively safe because it can get kind of, hairy out there.
The other thing, we're watching what's going on. This is the actual hurricane that's been causing all the problems south of here. Look at those guys. I mean, they are digging away trying to get this vehicle.
Oh,
this
my
is
goodness.
in Mexico, where their National Guard jumped into action in the area around San Jose del Cabo.
Okay.
A lot of people have been down to Cabo. And so the National Hurricane Center says the storm eventually will weaken later today and then into tomorrow. But Krystal's been telling us that if you track that storm, it's going to take that turn to the right, and that's what's going to provide even more moisture for about the next, 36 to 48 hours. So I just thought it would be interesting to be able to share with everybody what's going on really in the heart of the hurricane. So we always love having Krystal. Hopefully she'll be in again tomorrow. So big doings in Washington today. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you might say he's the most controversial of all the president's cabinet picks.
Probably.
And he's running the health department. He's the Health and Human Services Secretary. And you knew there was going to be all kinds of fireworks. So we rolled tape, as we say in the business. It's all digital now anyway, but we rolled tape. And so first out front were some medical professionals out in front of the Capitol, one of whom's actually a member of Congress. You're going to hear from her. Then you're going to hear the fireworks that were going on inside the hearing room, and then we want your opinion on it all. So stand by. If you're ready, here we go.
Current and former employees across HHS joined together to demand Kennedy's resignation. 1,000 public health professionals.
The radical political judgment of RFK Jr. and his conspiracy theory crowd being substituted for the judgment of scientists and doctors.
Last week, most of the senior leadership at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention were fired or they resigned after refusing to bow to Robert Kennedy's unceasing crusade against vaccines.
Are you aware that another one of these new members, Dr. Levy, wrote that, quote, evidence is mounting and indisputable that mRNA vaccines cause serious harm, including death, especially among young people? Yes or no? Are you aware that he said that?
I wasn't aware he said it, but I think I agree with it.
You agree with it? It's not true. It wasn't true when he said it, and it's not true when you said it.
I think that parents should be free to...
I know you said that before. I do too.
To make their own choices.
So will they be just as free after these...
I assume they will be.
And sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are. You're the ones who conflate chronic disease with the need for vaccines. The history on vaccines is very clear. This is the 20th century. That's how many people had vaccines and had illnesses. This is the 21st century. This is the decrease, 99% down to 100%. This is what was delivered with vaccines, and you don't want to support that.
Secretary of Health and Human Services doesn't know how many Americans died from COVID. Doesn't know if the vaccine helped prevent any deaths. And you are sitting as Secretary of Health and Human Services? How can you be that ignorant?
Look, you're putting America's babies' health at risk, America's seniors' health at risk, all Americans' health at risk, and you should resign.
Okay, some pretty strong feelings, and we wanted to make sure we gave time there for him to respond to all of these attacks that are coming his way. So let's do it. Let's jump into our poll question this morning. Fox 10 Talks, was he a mistake at HHS? 37% say yes, the anti-vaccine trend is dangerous for the country, but 62% say no, look, he's trying to eliminate the bad additives that have been over time kind of inserted into our food and get us to eat healthier. And 2% say, let's just hold on here. A lot of fire and smoke, but it's too early. Let's see if the U.S. is actually healthier at some point in the future. Celeste, how about YouTube?
Let's take a look at the YouTube. 786 votes already, Ron. Only up here a short amount of time, 1 hour, in fact. So yes, this anti-vaccine trend dangerous for the country. 56% of you say that. No, he's cutting bad additives and pushing healthier eating. 35% of you are voting in that direction. And 9% of you say too early to tell. Let's see if the U.S. gets healthier soon. And so sometimes we do see the audience differ in their opinion on YouTube versus our other poll question.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. And it is really interesting. I saw a big headline today in Daily Mail, and they're one of the first to come out with a poll that says the president's approval ratings have been going up ever since he made crime his primary issue. So, we've really seen that. The success is undeniable in Washington, D.C. We'll see what happens in Chicago. But here's a little bit more about what they had to say in their report. From the Daily Mail and a poll they do with JL Partners, president at 55% approval rating and 45% disapproving. They say it's the highest approval figure they have ever shown for his presidency, and they had 867 registered voters, and they conducted it for the last couple of weeks, right through till September the 1st. Now, I will point out, Celeste, Rasmussen and some other polls still have him underwater. For example, Rasmussen's at 51% disapprove to 48% approve, but it does seem as though he has latched on to this as maybe his primary issue as we get closer to the next year.
Well, I mean, you saw the numbers with crime. Again, we have to look at the data, right, and what years they're comparing it to. But you saw crime rise in a lot of these big cities during COVID and after COVID. And you still hear people, even in Los Angeles, who say, I can't leave anything in my vehicle. Or they choose not to leave anything in their vehicle and the windows down because they figure that somebody's going to break into their vehicle anyway.
Yeah.
And so it is happening in big cities.
Sure. Okay, so we are going to stay on top of that. We also have a live story that we're following this morning. I am going to punch this up for you right now. These are some of the light standards out in Mesa that they have at Hohokam Park. And if you see the emergency personnel out there at that really popular home for spring training, apparently a worker was somehow struck and didn't feel well enough. He had a head injury and he did not feel well enough to get down on his own. So they are in the process of, they're all trained in this, of making sure they can do an effective rescue. You see Mesa Fire is out there right now. We know them very well. We cover them almost on a weekly basis where they're out there not just fighting fires, but trying to rescue people, saving lives, etc. So that's happening at Hohokam Park. And if you're out there in North Mesa and you've been wondering what that's all about, now you know. And I'm sure we're going to have plenty of coverage on that breaking story just a little bit later today on our Fox 10 newscast, including at noon.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a lot more to go, including, don't worry, everybody, hold your horses. Dave is coming up with your reactions to the poll question as well on Fox 10 Talks. We're having a great time, and we're glad you're with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ever since the president, he said he dug into his own pocket to buy 2 great big American flags.
Yeah.
And so whether you're viewing now from the South Lawn or whether you're viewing there at the North Portico, you always see Old Glory flying in the wind.
So beautiful. Look how green it is there.
Yes.
We've had so much rain here in the valley. Eventually, up on that drive, Ron, up to Payson.
Yeah.
It's going to get green here, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, all that rain. Sometimes it looks like Ireland.
And so you get into the foothills. Celeste, that's such a good point. When you get just out of the valley and you're heading up the Beeline and you've left Fountain Hills and you start to, that can be, like you said, as green as Ireland, and it's so beautiful.
And then you have the saguaros up there, too. You're like, hold on a second. Where am I?
Yeah. Okay, here's a question for you guys in the chat. It's just a quick preview. Have you ever lost something that you're like, I am so bummed that I lost that, but then eventually you found it? There is a story of a big-time, big leaguer.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to share our stories as well. I think you're going to love that, but we always love getting your feedback in the chat as well. All right, so of course, we are focused on what's going on in Washington. President probably had to smile with that headline coming out of Daily Mail, although most of the other polls still put him kind of underwater when it comes to how voters do feel on the approval scale. So, Big D, what have you been seeing?
Great comments on our poll question today. JC How It's Been 3177 says he was one of the better additions. This is talking about RFK Jr. I wish people would wake up and realize how dangerous vaccines can be. They are not 100% safe and effective. They have never been 100% safe and effective, and they will never be 100% safe and effective. Vaccines should be a free choice and never mandated. Luck9837 says vaccines are so effective, people have forgotten what damage some of these diseases used to cause. And finally, Brandy the Bookworm, one of our favorites, says, I think he is too close-minded about far too many highly important issues. His decisions are already costing American citizens health and overall wellness. Maybe it's him being close-minded, his age, or just digging his feet into the ground in determination to make a political legacy for himself as he's a Kennedy. Maybe it's a combination of those things. The health and well-being of our nation's citizens is going to get much worse before it gets better, unfortunately, unless someone has the courage, confidence, and competence to step in and remove him. So really insightful comments as always on both sides. Keep them coming, everybody.
And we, of course, keep those poll questions up and active for you all morning long in our big 2-hour block. There's the QR code. And there's the YouTube poll. Now, Celeste.
Yes.
Before we let Dave go.
Where's he going? What do you mean? Where is Dave going?
Are you kidding? The way this guy moves around?
We need a ball and chain on that guy. He's not going anywhere.
Remember yesterday when he had to leave the studio to go find his wallet to prepare it for the money he's going to win in the fantasy football league?
Are we on the list? Is he taking us to lunch when he wins?
Anyway, Dave, so the topic is, here's the story, first of all. A guy named Anthony Rizzo has his 2016 World Series ring back, and it's amazing. So in an interview, Yohei Yamada telling Block Club Chicago he did find it as he went diving in Lake Michigan. So the whole story was that Rizzo lost it. He was out boating, but I don't know if he's doing a GLP thing or what's going on, but he had lost so much weight that the ring fell right off his finger.
Ron, I think he's doing that new trend 666 where you're on a treadmill for an hour. It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this fellow, Yohei Yamada, makes his living finding lost items in Lake Michigan. And so he got in touch with Rizzo.
Yes.
And he said, look, if you'll pay me $100, I'll get to work.
Yes.
And then you don't have to pay me any more unless I actually find it. And then it's up to you what you want to pay. So he did pay him the $100. He got out there. He started diving. He knew where to look. And he found it. Maybe he's got some kind of underwater metal detector.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it'd be interesting to hear. We don't have much in the story how deep he had to swim.
Sure.
In Lake Michigan.
It's
incredible. Up there, the Great Lakes, it's like the ocean. You're standing there taking a look at the water.
Right.
But I think it's pretty remarkable. So he actually did pay him a few few dry Benjis.
Yes, a few. Yes,
A
I
few.
hope so.
I hope it was more than a few.
I mean, those rings, a World Series rings with the diamonds in it, that's got to be worth, I don't know, $25,000-$50,000.
And at least took a selfie with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
my
sure,
gosh.
right? Maybe throw in a couple of tickets to a home game.
I hope so.
Something along those lines. But check this out. We decided we were going to talk a little bit about it. So, Dave, did you ever come up with a story of maybe something you lost, but then eventually you found it or didn't find it, or what the whole situation was?
Well, I think a lot of married people can relate to this. When I first got married, this lovely ring was not quite tight enough, so it would fall off frequently. And so luckily, I've now got it pretty aggressively attached.
Did you use Gorilla Glue, or what'd you go with? I say, hang on.
The jeweler make it a little tighter.
Oh, good.
And now how is it? Is it still fit?
It fits incredibly well. I don't think I could pull this off if I wanted to.
Well, I cannot wait to share this story with you guys. Celeste, you might remember me telling this story years ago. Dave's never heard it before, but it's so incredible. Okay, so the story goes like this. Why am I a lord in Scotland?
Because you own.
Hold on.
I don't know.
That's
That
GX2.
creepy guy knows.
Hold on. Let me
is
get
this
to
it,
the
Ron?
next.
No, this is it, right?
Oh, yes. Okay. So there's a company where you can buy 1 square foot of land, and if you're a landowner, then you can technically, legally call yourself a lord in Scotland.
Which you are.
Or a laird, as they like to say over there.
A laird.
So that's the land. I bought a foot for me and a foot for Renee. And, oh, my goodness.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, my
maybe
goodness,
I
so
can't punch these
great.
buttons. So that's Lady Renee. Glencoe in the woods. So are you punching these, Ronnie? If you want, you can just cycle through to the next one. So
RLS Vid said he's a lord too.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you guys, here's the story. When we were down there on that land, I lost my only pair of prescription sunglasses.
Oh.
And I was so bummed because I'm like, I'm going to be squinting through all the rest of Scotland, not able to see anything.
Oh, no.
So that was one day. Next day, about at least 50 to 100 miles away.
Yes.
I went on that hike. Go ahead and pull that picture up again. This is, no, can you go back to the one where I'm on the hike?
Are those strangers that you accosted and said you better take a photo with me?
These are the all-time heroes. So we had run into that lady and her daughter. These are the Yorks from Pennsylvania. Go ahead and call up the 4-shot there. We ran into them the day before when we were out there.
Yeah.
It's a day later. We're maybe close to 100 miles away, and we run into them again on this hike.
Okay.
100 miles away.
Yes.
I say to them, you didn't happen to find a pair of lost sunglasses.
No.
Did you? Okay, Ronnie, show us the last one. They found the pair of sunglasses.
Where?
And we were when we were out there looking at the land that we own.
Oh.
100 miles away, the next day we happen to run into them. They're coming down the hill. We're going up the hill. And I said, did you and they're like, yeah, we got it in our car.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on.
Did you also give them a few $100s?
Right. Yeah, but they were all soaking wet, so I was not able to. No. I don't think I did.
Oh, what a great
that would have been
story.
weird, right? Well, here's $20.
Well, or
Thank
like
you.
candy or something.
Some candy. But so can you show the 4 of them again one more time? This is the amazing part of it. We then became great friends. We still exchange Christmas cards.
Oh,
the Yorks
that's sweet.
and the Hoons. Because what are the odds, Celeste? I put it like this in terms of losing something and then finding it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, then I could see Scotland for the rest of my trip. It would almost be like if one day you were hiking up around, say, Flagstaff.
Okay.
And you lose something. And the next day, you're a long ways away.
In Phoenix.
Yeah, let's say you're up in the Superstitions.
Okay.
And you bump into the exact same people that you saw the day before.
And then you're like, hey, do you happen to find?
They have your lost item 100 miles
What
away.
if you had not asked? lost them. Can you ever think like, okay, what if you had not said that?
Well, I was so bummed because I'm like, I'm not even going to be able to see
You
here.
were crying.
Yeah, I was.
You were crying.
Anyway, the whole story, that's my favorite lost and found story of all time. Did you ever come up with one?
Well, I lost something, but I never found it.
Uh-oh, what was it?
We were on a boat also.
Okay.
We were at Bartlett Lake in Northeast Valley, part of the valley.
Right.
And we're on a boat, and my daughter,
Bartlett,
Kalina's like, I don't know, she might be 2 at the time. And my phone, I kept it nearby, and I was thinking, I like to take pictures and video of the kids on the water or jumping in the water. And all of a sudden, it's gone. And I'm thinking, I know it was here.
Yeah.
And she was the one who picked it up and threw it overboard.
Oh, purposely?
Yes.
No. Oh, wow.
But it took me a couple weeks to get a new phone.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it was quite peaceful.
Oh, I can imagine.
For a couple weeks. Can you imagine without your phone, Ron?
I know.
For a couple weeks.
I know.
Oh,
okay,
my
I think
gosh,
I've got
great.
VO4 as the lotto, so here we go. I'm going to punch it up. No.
The lotto.
No. We are, our VOs
This is
are
big
all messed
money.
up
This
here.
is big money,
You
Ron.
guys go ahead and roll the lotto for me. I think what's happening is we're already starting to load our videos for the next hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but we have a fix in the works for that, Celeste.
Yes,
It'll
we
never
do.
happen again. Anyway, no winner last night. The new jackpot. Are you aware how big this new jackpot's going to be?
So they're thinking like what 1.4-ish right now.
Even bigger.
Right now.
Oh, yeah.
But by the time we get to the next one, it's going to be huge.
$1.7 billion.
Oh, that's number
Just winning
3.
700 million would be amazing. And then $1 billion on
Did you
top of
play
that.
last night?
No.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play. I have to pick up my ticket early, though, because I'll forget.
Oh, yeah. Well, plus there's a first NFL game of the season tonight.
That's right.
Once you start watching that, then
Who's it? The
it's all over.
Cowboys and
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles.
In Philly.
That's going to be
Should
big
be
time.
A great game. And Fox has a bunch of really great games as well. So, anyhow, we are told that the only bigger jackpots in our nation's history, because we're at number 3 now,
yes,
$1.76 billion in 2023, and the biggest of all time, $2 billion, $2.4 billion in 2020.
I have to read this from Brandy the Bookworm because it's hilarious.
All right.
I lost my wedding ring. Big D. This is for you, buddy.
Okay.
I lost my wedding ring, Brandy says, 26 years ago and was happy to do so. Oh, my God. It's so funny.
Yeah, no kidding.
Darla says, I went through something close to that. Lost my wallet in Williams. Lived in the woods in Ash Fork in April in a winter storm. A foreign couple brought it to my house before I even got home. So they found it, saw her address.
Oh, my gosh.
What angels
There
they
are honest people everywhere.
Know.
Yeah,
wow,
that's for sure.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, break time here on FTT, Fox 10 Talks. We got a lot more to talk about here in our next half hour, including the best cities anywhere for Gen Z types. That's coming right up.
That's me.
And we welcome you back. By the way, you're looking at one of Canada's most beautiful cities. That's Victoria, British Columbia. Great big thank you to Dean Fazzini, who we don't acknowledge enough here on the program.
Dino.
Handling all... by the way, Celeste comes up with a nickname for everybody. You guys all know Big D.
Big D.
Before he started working here, he was known as Dave. And, well, correct.
Well, what about, I call Bella Bells. I'm like, hey, Bells.
Isabella became Bella.
Yeah, well, I call her Bells. Like, that's,
Bells.
That's
Okay.
my name.
Good.
But
the only thing is, we haven't all got together to give you a good nickname.
Oh, this is scary. Maybe people in the chat could come up with one. Okay.
Hey, let's look at what's happening in the market today. This is really, it's not weird if you follow the market. Oh, hold on. Here we go. If you follow the market, you'll understand this. When bad news becomes good news. The latest jobs numbers came out, and layoffs in this country, this is bad news, are surging. Employers last month laid off 85,000 people, and that is the biggest we have ever seen since the worst days of COVID.
Wow.
Now, that's obviously bad news. In fact, they say so far this year, employers have cut 892,000 jobs. So why is the stock market up? That's the signal, probably the most important signal that the Federal Reserve needs to see that will get them worried enough about the economy and about jobs, because that's the other half of their job. Yeah, they got to keep inflation in check, but full employment is the goal. You can hardly call it full employment if 890,000 people have already been laid off this year.
Yeah, that's so true. I think it's interesting, too, when you have to look at it big picture. There was maybe about a couple weeks ago, I saw a story from 2022 during the COVID pandemic, and the market popped up. And it was a shot of the market. The market was around 22,000 in 2022.
Wow.
And I took a moment and I thought, oh my gosh, like right now we're at 45,000. So to give you some perspective, looking at the bright side here, it's like even though some of these numbers kind of stink and they're not great, it's like look how far we've come in a very short amount of time.
I'll tell you what's good for the for business in general.
What's that, Ron?
Not just the stock market, but good for business. The answer is right here.
That's you. You're good
Ron
for business.
is good for business.
Ron is good for
I'm
business.
VO6, Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, she is good for business.
Okay,
Have you seen her new ads? I was reading an article about her in the New York Times yesterday.
There she is.
So the new ad is her. They call it Canadian tuxedo. She's got jeans and a jean jacket.
Oh, okay.
And so that's her newest ad for what was it?
American
Eagle. Thank you. I was about to say Abercrombie. But she looks great. She's beautiful, and it's kind of like a little. She's got the jeans on, but her jacket, she's got no shirt underneath. So it's kind of like a sexy type of, I got the jean jacket on, but no shirt. But it was all about how she has been a huge moneymaker for this company.
Oh, the stock was up yesterday when they reported their earnings, and they gave a lot of credit to her and their whole campaign, because the whole country's been talking about it. And I do believe that some of the items that are on that line have completely sold out.
Yes.
And they reported their earnings way better than were expected, and their stock surged about 20% in one day.
Wow.
Do you know how many years it would take you to earn 20% at the bank?
How many, Ron?
20 years.
Wow.
Because they only pay you 1% per year at the bank. Anyway, wow.
She's
that's
hot
a
right
success
now.
story. Does it surprise you, Bella, that she is having that big of an impact?
No, because especially for Gen Zers, she's really popular. I mean, she was a all-star actress in what is that called? Euphoria, which was super big.
Yes.
So she's just been in a lot of very popular movies and shows lately. So I can understand when people obsess over a person and they promote something, it's destined to get sold out.
And she's beautiful.
Yeah, she really is. She's the sweetheart of Spokane, as we talk about a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we are going to bring in Rosalind Colgan now. She's with Time Out New York, and they came up with this most fascinating study, Celeste.
Yes.
And we said to ourselves, we have got to chat with Rosalind to find out all about it, because they spanned the globe looking for the cities that... if you have anybody they're kind of in that Gen Z category, maybe you are yourself, or people who are, you're going to want to tell them, hey, why don't you move to Bangkok? Bangkok, Thailand is number 1 in the world.
Yeah, Rosalind, I don't know. My husband would say, you're leaving me with these kids? What's happening?
Yeah, fortunately, he's out of the Gen Z category. But Rosalind, tell us more about this study, why you guys decided to do it, and what maybe some of the surprises were.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. I think what's so interesting about this study is it really helps us to understand what this young generation is looking for in a city. And so for this study, we surveyed all age groups. We surveyed 18,000 people from across the globe. That gave us 1.5 million data points to go through. And for this particular story, we filtered out Gen Z. So what we learned is that maybe previous generations maybe liked a life of stability, quiet in the suburbs, but Gen Z is not looking for that. They want dynamic experiences, they want community, they want work-life balance, and financial freedom.
So what's so great about Bangkok? We're showing pictures from there and other top cities.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the photos. You can definitely see the energy. So for Bangkok specifically, Gen Z rated this combination of happiness, affordability, and community. So these 3 things are what they really ranked highly for Bangkok. I think the study is really cool because it's, this is by Gen Z, it's for Gen Z, and it helps us to understand what they're looking for. So this combination, happiness, affordability, community, if any city leaders are listening, that's what Gen Z is looking for.
Yeah. Okay, so then we also see pictures of New York and Chicago because, of course, the idea of moving all the way across the planet may sound fun, but might not be practical for everybody. Tell us about the 2 American cities that did crack the top 20.
Definitely. So I am based in New York, so I have to give New York a lot of shout outs. I think it's great for any generation, but Gen Z loves it for a few reasons. So they rate walkability really high. They also rate the nightlife scene here. We definitely have plenty of that. They love the food scene. 91% of Gen Z said the food scene and eating out options in New York makes them really enjoy living here. And then finally, the culture. So a place for art, live music, performances. They love that about New York. And then for Chicago, well, actually, before I move on to Chicago, I should say one thing that Gen Z says they don't like about New York is affordability. So that's something that perhaps New York can try to solve in the future. And then moving on to Chicago, happiness really wins out there, as well as the food scene. Chicago has an excellent food scene. And what they rank as kind of overall vibe of the city. So sort of the energy of the city really jumps out to Gen Z.
That's excellent. Well, we knew you'd be a wealth of information. Did Phoenix even crack the list? Do you have any Arizona cities we can give them a slap on the back?
I am sorry to say there are no Arizona cities, but maybe next year. We gotta start a campaign now to get Arizona on the list for next year.
Okay.
Well, if you ever visit Arizona, you got to come in studio with us on the stream because we'll introduce you to some great restaurants.
Yeah, we will.
I would love to.
We're quite the foodie scene here in Phoenix.
Yeah, we really are. Okay.
And sunny, which we could use. So
yeah,
that's great.
for sure. All right, Rosalind, thank you. You guys, I feel like we've been promoting this next segment for, I don't know, like 3 days.
Okay.
Let's get to it. So, women prefer for men to do this in the early dating stages, and it's a huge heads up for guys who may think that, you have to have just the right cologne, or you had to go to the
and not
gym.
Too strong.
No,
not too
or
strong.
you had to go to the gym and pump up those muscles
And
before the date.
Wear deodorant.
Oh, really? That's a big one?
Bad breath.
Okay.
Brush your teeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Goes on.
All right. A recent study by, this is Evolutionary Psychological Science. That hasn't landed in my mailbox in months. Anyway, they found that women prefer, when they're really trying to judge a guy in those first few months of the dating world, kindness, little acts of service, like saying, hey, I'll cook the meal. Why don't you come over to my place and I'll fix us a meal? That kind of thing. Or just not just saying it, but meaning it, like, I'm here for you. If there's something I can do to help you out, let me know.
That goes a long way.
Now,
I will say, even opening the door.
Yeah.
Like a little chivalry goes a long way.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. So, Bella, are you, Celeste and I are happily married. And you're going to find Mr. Right
Not to each other.
one of these days very soon. Would you put that at the top of the list for guys?
I think
the whole
so.
kindness thing?
I think things like that would catch my attention because I don't know if it's just Gen Zers, but I feel like a lot of guys these days, they either want to be chased themselves or, they don't believe in opening the door for you. They don't believe in, buying you a meal. They'll split it 50-50. So I think if a guy were to, hold the door open for me or offer to cook, those things, I do think that would be very impressive to me.
There you go.
There just sounds like there's not very many real men out there anymore.
Except in our chat box.
Yes.
Because we know you guys are right on target.
We have lots of men in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Okay, well, so that's the bottom line to the whole thing. The survey says, be kind, show kindness, show even little acts of service, and you'll make a big impression on that lady.
I think most women, the love languages, right? I think most women have at least a primary or a secondary love language, and that is service. Like acts of service are really important. But I think that they're really important, not just in relationships, like Belle's mentioned, but I think in even like coworker relationships, like understanding each other's love language and what feeds your energy and your happiness. It's very, very important.
Like earlier this morning, I offered someone a cupcake if they would get my hairbrush and makeup for me.
It was a trade.
Yeah.
Well, negotiation.
And Celeste said, I don't need a cupcake, but she got up and got my stuff for me. I was just cold and tired.
Yeah. My nalgas do not need a cupcake, but I will get your makeup
I'm
back
actually thinking back to when I first started dating Renee.
Yeah.
And I don't think this impressed her, but it impressed her mom because I was a poor, starving college student, and I would always go to Betty's house for a meal.
Oh,
they had a big family, 7 kids. I was like the 8th kid. But as soon as I was done, I got up and washed the dishes in the sink.
Good boy.
And she's like, "Oh man, you are scoring points."
You better marry. If you don't, then your other sister will.
He's a keeper. There is, and Ron, you scored points with Mom, and I have to say, that's a big deal.
I think so too. All right, so Anita is here. The big 11 o'clock hour about to kick off. Now, I'll just say at 11:30, 11:40, we have Brooke Burke, the big star from Dancing with the Stars and a lot of other things. She's joining us in studio. But what have you got coming up this next half hour?
We're going to be talking to a vet about dogs and valley fever. We just had that big dust storm yesterday. Yeah. Valley fever affects people, but it also affects our pets. So we have some of his expertise, and then we'll be talking about a couple of other things that are happening today as well.
Right after this.
is joining us. she's trying to help me. I had to reset a password.
She's in IT department right now.
She's very
She
smart.
does it all.
She's very, very smart. How many people loathe resetting their passwords?
I can't. And then it's, the
and it's a
worst.
ripple effect.
It's a ripple. And then ours, a lot of the work stuff is like, well, it cannot be anything similar to what you already had. Because typically you can just add something new, an exclamation point. Nope, you got to make it completely different. So
we have some breaking news that's taking place. Let's go to Lauren really, really quickly. Do we have Lauren already, you guys? Okay. Hey, Lauren Clark, good morning. This is really something else. We have a worker who is essentially trapped. He was trying to fix the lights, trying to change the light bulbs out, hit his head, did not feel comfortable coming down, and the fire department is trying to bring him down. You just arrived on scene. What's going on?
Hey there, guys. Yeah, I mean, this is a very active point. I count at least 20 Mesa fire and medical crews out here. There's also a Mesa and fire incident command truck out here at this time. I'm also watching, as we speak, a crane that's towards that giant light, really trying to work there to grab that worker and make sure he gets down safely. Now, we're currently at Hohokam Stadium. This is the spring training facility of the Oakland A's here in Mesa, right across the street from where the City of Mesa Cemetery is, if you're familiar with that location. And this entire area is really just swarmed with fire trucks, with personnel. They are really prepared when this gentleman does come down, that they are going to give him the care that he needs. At this point, it's a little unclear how he struck his head. This is just for reference. You know, one of those giant lights that you see in baseball stadiums that shine down and illuminate the field there. It's one of those. And this actually looks to be the biggest here at the stadium. And unclear exactly how he hit his head. I'm guessing it's one of those giant light bulbs up there, too. But I'm counting, if my eyes don't deceive me, at least 2 people up there. And then there's also that giant crane. But, yeah, they're really trying to work hard to get that gentleman down.
Lauren, we're looking at a bird's eye view right now. I'm not sure if choppers out there. We have drones out there. How do we know how the worker got up there? Did he climb up there on his own?
Yeah, another great question that I'm certainly going to be asking the public information officer. We're expecting to get some background information later on today, and that is a good question, exactly how he got up there. I'm sure there would have to be some type of apparatus or device to get up there because this is really high up. I'm guessing at least minimum maybe 50 feet up in the air, and this is just a ballpark from where I'm standing. But there would certainly have to be some type of apparatus for him to get up there. And if he is saying, I don't feel comfortable, I don't think I can do this on my own safely, that's some pretty good news because at least he's able to communicate that to the field crews down over there. So hopefully this gentleman will be able to get down on the ground soon.
Yeah, and do we know, Lauren, this is Danielle, do we know which person up there is the worker? We saw one guy sitting down. Looks like one guy was kind of climbing up just there, and then another person there on the right. Is that worker the one in the middle?
I think so. I would like to get a little bit more of a zoomed in look. My photographer right now, Max Morgan, is getting some shots there. So once I am able to kind of view a little bit more over the exact situation, that's what I think is probably the case. But again, not for sure. I think he's the one sitting down there. Yeah, my photographer is nodding to me that is the case. And in fact, he's actually zoomed in right now. Can kind of get a little bit more of a look. Yes, he is the one in the yellow vest I'm seeing. This is a closer view. But yeah.
So it does look like he's up and kind of moving around. So that's good. That's great news.
How high up is that? Can you tell?
It's pretty high up there. If I had to ballpark, it's, 50 plus feet if I had to guess. But yeah, I'm looking at him interacting with some of the crews right now. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I mean, he is kind of moving around and interacting with folks. And this is just, he was able to communicate, I don't feel safe doing this on my own.
Yeah.
So that in itself is a good sign of not someone who's been passed out or something like that, but someone who has struck his head and, might be a little disoriented at the moment. But it looks like he's moving his feet down right now from where we're at. So it looks like at this moment he's really close to being rescued by those two personnel.
Lauren, speaking of rescues, right? They train for all types of rescues on the fire department, swift water, the mountain, in the heat, in different elements. I wonder if they train for anything specific like this.
That's a great question. I think that was Anita who asked that. Great question. Because a situation like this doesn't exactly happen every single day. At least with swift water, you can expect to the floating season that there's going to be some water situations. But again, this just really highlights the amount of training and expertise our folks that work with the fire department just really have to have for these types of situations. And the bravery, really, too. I mean, this is certainly this is a pretty high up view from here. And this takes a lot of courage and bravery to help someone in this way. So it's great to know that these folks have the ability to help people out if this is the case.
Take us through that scenario again, where you are, where everything's located, because we have a question in the chat from someone asking, can they get him down with a helicopter? I would imagine that would be risky given the proximity to the ballpark and the seats and all that.
Yeah, I think so. And especially since, we're talking about a light pole. This is, again, one of the stadium lights. So you also have like giant light bulbs to kind of work around. That probably seems to be one of the barriers at this moment. This isn't like a mountain rescue where you can just stand up top there, wave your hands and get a helicopter. So it looks like what they're doing is an apparatus, kind of like a crane type mechanical apparatus there. I'm sure there is a specific word and a specific term that I will grab that later today when I talk to the public information officer about it. But it looks like there's two folks helping out this gentleman, and I think that they have some type of, they're connected in some way, and they're trying to help him down step by step. Right now he's sitting down on the top of the lights, and it looks like there's two men there that have either poked him into something or are working to try to ease him in step by step. But again, this is someone who, for those who have just joined us here in the chat, welcome to Fox 10 Talk. This was a man who was working on the lights here and somehow struck his head and then told folks that he didn't feel comfortable or he didn't think it was safe for him to go down by himself. So that's why we have about 24 Mesa Fire Incident Command trucks out here and just fire crews really ready for anything at a moment's notice. And we have lots of personnel here trying to work to get him down safely.
All right, Lauren, I think we're probably going to have you on the noon show for updates and then later editions of Fox 10 News. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Be safe out there.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it as well.
That is wild.
Yeah, thank goodness he was able to call for help.
Yeah.
And you saw those, it looked like not netting, I'm sure it's metal, but those structures that if somebody does collapse or fall, could potentially catch him, or did he pass out for a minute? Who knows? I mean, thank goodness he was able to get help.
They're working on getting him down.
Yeah.
At this point.
That is a scary situation. Also scary. Some of the storms we had last
yeah,
night.
not Krystal.
I mean, the lightning and the thunder, I'm sure there were people out there saying, what the heck is going on?
It was loud, that's for sure. It was it woke me up last night when it was rolling on through that next round of storms that we saw.
The lightning was crazy because in my bedroom, laying there and it got dark, it was, I think we showed the video this morning and I think Desiree even pointed out, we didn't edit this. This wasn't, lightning, this was what actually happened.
Well, believe it or not, I slept through it all.
Lucky you.
I woke up around 1:30 and looked outside and I thought, gosh, it's raining. It's still raining. What are we looking at for the rest of the day? What are the rain totals?
Okay, so in terms of what we picked up already, if you want to pop up my graphics, we can take a look at that.
Is that something I need to do? Weather maps? Does that help?
Yes, there you go. Okay. I'm going to shift over to the rain totals. So this is from what fell just yesterday in the evening. These were some big numbers. Now, again, we've talked about this, but anytime you have tropical moisture influencing our pattern, all of a sudden the numbers have the potential to be much larger, which is what we saw come to fruition last night. In the East Valley, depending on where you're at, you could see like near Gilbert, about 1/2 inch, near Tempe, 1 inch to 1 1/3 inches, near Ahwatukee, 1/3 to 2/3 of an inch of rain. Top of South Mountain picked up 1 inch. Scottsdale itself, part of the reason you probably weren't woken up, Anita, although the dust rolled through. The totals weren't as big in Scottsdale, but then your neighbor just on over to North Phoenix, almost an inch and a half.
Holy cow.
Yeah, like the 51 and 101.
Wow.
And then in Glendale, an inch and a quarter fell. So in pockets, there were spots where, the storm just dumped a little bit heavier, but also some of these were really slow to move. So you just got like that kind of duration effect where the numbers ended up being larger. And already we're actually seeing more showers and thunderstorms fire off. Today is going to be a tale of two types of weather. The areas that are quite cloudy, like you're seeing in, say, southeastern Arizona, more of a steady to at times heavier rain. But the areas like, say, in northwestern Arizona, Mojave County, you have better potential, and especially down in Yuma County later today, for some stronger thunderstorms to develop because those areas are heating up. They've got the sunshine, and those are key ingredients to triggering stronger storms, especially as the day goes on. But right now, if you look at like Gila County, parts of southern Coconino, up to like the I-40 area, we've got these little scattered showers that are already developing. And then those hot spots you see in like orangish, yellowy red, those are the areas where there's a steadier storm that's starting to pop up and move on through. And then in southeastern Arizona, this is Cochise County, there's that steadier rain. And that rain is the direct impact of that moisture, that tropical moisture coming up from the south and spilling into southeastern Arizona. But north of Tucson, you do see that there's a little thunderstorm that's firing up there. And that's where our eyes will be as the afternoon progresses, is do we get some thunderstorms in that region? And do they start to lift northward into Pinal County? Because as we know, that's the path for dust to move, but also the path for, say, some outflow boundaries to kick up new storms in the valley. So that's what we'll be watching for us to see actual storms in the valley.
Jared of Sonora says incredible last night. Lightning all around, rain for about 30 minutes. That's near Peoria. We have about a minute until we have to take a break. Okay. The one thing that I would love to ask you about is you mentioned it throughout the morning, if you can stick through the break, is you said you want it to heat up.
Yeah, I know people are like, I'm sorry, huh?
Yeah, because we're all enjoying the cooler temperatures,
yeah.
but you want it to heat up because that will mean...
Well, for people that are wanting us to get more thunderstorms in the evening, you need the energy for those storms. We kind of ate a lot of it up yesterday. Admittedly, yesterday we talked about we needed for all the right ingredients for those storms to boom, and we just so happened to have all those right ingredients at like, 8, 9 o'clock last night. So as a result, we kind of like, if we're talking about our atmosphere as a battery, we used up like a lot of the battery. Now we need to recharge it. The way we do that is if we can get sunny and warm. So watching the temperatures closely, watching the sky to see if that sunshine comes out closely, because that will be a better indicator for storm chances heading into this evening for the valley.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Do we have the Zoom or no? Oh. before we head to our next guest, you have just a quick wrap up of what's happening.
Sure, yeah. So we walked through like what happened, but now we can take a close look at what might happen the rest of today. So we do have flood watches. If you want to pop my graphics back up.
Oh, sorry.
Then no, you're good. For most of the state at this point, Yavapai County southward under flood watches. For like central and southwestern Arizona, this is for today into tonight. And then for southeastern Arizona, it's through Friday and Saturday because of additional tropical moisture that may kind of have that accumulation effect of like day after day, you build up those totals, and that may trigger some flooding or say like some streams running high, even some washes that are normally dry starting to run. Okay, so now we're looking at the futurecast for the rest of the day. The model shows where the storms have started to kind of bubble up already, and then if we kind of slowly go through our model into this afternoon, notice the hot spots begin as they have been the last few days up in the higher country, parts of say like the mountains in Prescott, some of the mountaintops in Gila County, off to the White Mountains to the east. And then, as I mentioned, we have to watch those storms down near Tucson and southern Pinal County to see if they kick up dust and wind as we go through the afternoon, but also as they start to approach the valley, if we have enough time to heat up before they try to approach. If they approach too early, we might not be hot enough, and if what we call the atmosphere being spent, basically, you might not see a lot of storms actually build, or maybe it's just like some showers, like kind of boring, so sort of spotty. If we get hot enough, and this comes a little later in the day, that's when we may see some outflows combine and trigger those thunderstorms. So we still have a fair chance of some stronger storms into this evening and overnight. So the model, as you can see, this is around 6 p.m. They're kind of in the vicinity of the valley. And then throughout the night, you can see it shows those kind of scattered storms still nearby. So something to watch tonight. And then there'll again be a chance into Friday, too. So we're not done yet with all this tropical moisture.
No longer a non-soon. I think that you have been a very, very busy lady the past couple of weeks.
You know what? And a few, like what, a month ago, everybody was like, it's over, it's done, and I was like, well, it's not over yet.
There's still a chance.
There's still a chance. So, yep, now here we are.
You're both moms.
Yep.
And so Millary's already in kindergarten. Sophia's got a little time. She's got a little time, but there's a new report out that talks a little bit about people are looking at homes where there's a really good school district. So is that something that you would think about?
Yeah, and I think here in Arizona, it's not as big of an issue, and for myself, only because I came from Las Vegas, and I know in Las Vegas it is very strict in terms of zone variances, and you have to go where you live. Here in Arizona, from my experience so far, is that if you can provide transportation to the school, you can kind of pick and choose wherever you want to go, just as long as your student can get to school okay.
School choice is what they call it.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So you would you pick a neighborhood with a better school?
I would say so, yeah. Because, I mean, obviously you want convenience with, sending your kid to school.
I know my cousin, like a couple of years ago, moved from the Chicago, Illinois area to Jacksonville, Florida. They were going to move to St. Augustine, but ended up moving to Jacksonville because they said it's a better school
district.
Yeah, better schools there. So I'm going to bring in our next guest, and this is Danielle Hale. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. You are a chief economist, for Realtor.com.
That's right. Yes.
So what is this trend of people looking for homes, testing these homes in these neighborhoods out so they can get to better school districts?
Yeah, well, I know, back to school season kind of varies depending where you are. And as I understand it, in Phoenix, your kids have been back in school for a little while, but my kids went back to school last week, and we use that as an occasion to take a look at home shopping trends. And we were looking at markets where home shoppers are trying to move into a particular district because we know that they're shopping and they're outside of that district, and they're looking at homes in a particular district. And we identified those districts that are most in demand based on those property views that come from outside of a particular district. And we did this for the 50 largest markets across the country. So in each of those largest metro areas, we identified the most in-demand district based on those home shopping trends.
And how do you find out, Danielle, about, the schools that you're looking at? There's obviously there has to be ratings, I'm assuming, right? So are people looking at those ratings, seeing those zip codes, and then punching those into Realtor.com and, looking at homes in that particular area?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we did limit our search just to school ratings that are above average, so 8 or higher. And fortunately, that information is actually available right on the site when you're looking for homes. In fact, if you want to search in a particular school district because you've identified that that's a school where you want your kids to go, you can search for homes based on that school district, and you can also find that ratings information there as well.
So let's see, you said 50 of the most in-demand districts is where you guys looked at. Were there any in the state of Arizona that were part of this little study?
Yeah, so we found the most in-demand district in each of the largest metro areas, and in the Phoenix-Scottsdale metro area, the Cave Creek United School District was the one that had the most interest in it out of all the districts in the region.
And Cave Creek's actually beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's a little ways away.
It's a little further out from the Phoenix metro area, but I mean, I guess if you don't mind a commute. So are you also seeing, or maybe you'll be conducting another study on this, but so people are looking, but at what point do they actually buy and move into that neighborhood with that excellent school district?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that is not in the scope of this study. We're using just home shopping traffic to identify those areas that are most in demand. But something that was really common across districts when we looked at this, people are usually paying a premium to get into those top-notch school districts. So nationwide, 27 out of the 50 most in-demand districts had a higher price than the metro area around it. And Cave Creek United in Phoenix is no exception to that. The median listing price in that school district is $1.6 million compared to roughly $500,000 for the median listing price across the metro area. So it is a much more expensive district, which suggests that people are willing to pay up to get into these high quality school districts.
So you think people know, do you think that they do their research before listing their house and selling it, and they say, hey, we have an excellent school district, we can ask for more money? Do you think that's a possibility?
I'm sure it's at least a consideration. And that's a good question. In this report, we didn't actually look at how many people advertise that they're in a top-notch school district, but I'm sure that's one of many factors that people consider when they're setting their price.
Awesome information. How do people find out more?
If they want to find out more, they can go to realtor.com/research. That's REALTOR.com/research.
Thank you. Awesome. We'll chat soon. Appreciate it. That's fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, though, as...
if I lived in a district that had a good rating, I would definitely advertise that. I'd be like, hey,
for sure.
Newly remodeled, swimming pool, guest house, whatever it is you're putting on there.
Yeah.
Excellent school district. I mean, it's a big plus.
It is a big plus because obviously you want your kids in a good school district, and having it close by home is so convenient.
Yeah.
So
you want them to get a good education, right?
That's right.
Let's talk about pups. We are both big dog lovers.
Love the dogs.
And last night we had that past couple of nights, we've had that big wall of dust rolling in, and that is one thing that we talk a lot about here with those dust storms. Not just the dust storms, but really this is year round, is valley fever. People can get valley fever, and then our pups and animals can get valley fever.
And they're outside, if not more. Than people.
Well, they're also digging.
They're digging. They're in it. So,
so Dr. Brian Serbin is joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And so I've done a couple of special projects on these, which I think is fascinating. You don't have to have that big dust storm, the haboob, to get that valley fever spore. I talked to a woman who said that there was construction on the other side of her apartment complex. She was walking her dog in that area, and they both got it.
Yeah, valley fever is in the soil. It's endemic to this area of the country, lower sonoran life zone. So everybody's exposed, all the pets, all the people. It doesn't matter. There doesn't have to be a storm.
Wow. And symptoms, are they the exact same in humans and dogs, or what does it look like in pets?
I'm not a licensed physician, but in pets, the most common is respiratory, coughing, panting. We see a lot of lameness issues. We see dogs that just don't feel well. But we can see even more obscure signs like neurological issues, problems with the eyes, even draining skin lesions.
Yeah. Wow. And if it goes untreated, once it is in the lungs or in the respiratory system, it potentially goes to your bones next, right? Or in...
Yeah, it can go anywhere, and it's fatal if it's not treated, potentially, yeah.
How quickly from the moment of exposure to these pores are we seeing these animals see symptoms and then diagnosed?
Well, we tend to see a spike in cases 1 to 3 months after these haboobs come through, or after a big rain, like in the springs.
Wow. Yeah.
And treating it is what? If I bring my dog in or experiencing those symptoms,
The most common treatment's an oral medication. Usually we use fluconazole or some kind of antifungal medication, but there are dogs that need more specific meds or more specialized meds like intravenous antifungals. It's not that common, but
Is it once they're on the medication, are they on that for the rest of their life? Long term?
It's long term. Some cases it's lifelong. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not cheap either. I mean, it's something. Even if you have pet insurance, it's going to be an out of pocket. But if you love your pets, you definitely want them to be healthy and feel good.
Yeah, there's definitely an expense, and it can get expensive when you factor in blood work and visits, and then they get, of course, medications. Yes.
And is there any way to prevent something like? I mean, obviously your pets.
Their noses. It seems like I had a little Chihuahua. And if he'd love to sniff, and you would take him to the dog park, and he didn't run around and play with the other dogs. You would find him at the edges of the park, just sniffing, nose to dirt always.
He's being a dog.
Yes, which is fine. Yeah,
but no way really to prevent it, really.
Well, there's talk of a vaccine that's being developed in Tucson at the University of Arizona with a company called Anaviv, but it's been talked about for years. I think it's still in clinical trials.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever see it.
Okay.
I think it.
And I've interviewed that doctor several times, and we've had him on here actually, and he said if that vaccine works for dogs, the big hope is it'll work for people.
I think developing vaccines for for fungal diseases is really challenging, much more so than bacteria or viruses. I think that's the problem they're having right now.
So really, I mean, just staying inside if there is those dust storms, just to try to prevent. Or
I don't think
it's tough, man.
No house is hermetically sealed.
Yeah.
No. I think we're just exposed by living here.
That's
unfortunately. And it's cats too, right? It's any.
Yeah, cats. But for every 50 cases we see in dogs, we see one cat. It's not that common, but we'll see it in cats. Yeah.
Interesting.
How do people get a hold of you if they want more information?
I'm from Ingleside Animal Hospital. We're in kind of Arcadia area, Phoenix. And give my office a call. But I think if somebody had the important take-home point is if your dog or your cat is sick, call your regular veterinarian, schedule an appointment, have that pet seen.
Yeah. I imagine that almost every vet in the Valley now is pretty aware of the symptoms, pretty aware that, and you do have to test specifically for valley fever, correct?
Right. There's a blood test. We also look at blood counts. We look at blood chemistries. But yeah, if you work in Phoenix or you work in Arizona, you're pretty familiar with valley fever.
Thanks for your time. Great information.
Thank you so much.
We are going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then Des and Ron are going to be back, and they have a very special guest, Brooke Burke.
I know.
Is going to be here.
I've got to see her.
Watch.
She never ages, that girl.
We might just stick around to watch. We'll
I
be
need
back,
her secrets. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That's the weather map we're all talking about. Welcome back to Fox 10 Talks. It's Ron and Des for the last half hour of our 2-hour extravaganza. We're all very excited. We have a star coming in. This is the biggest get yet for our streaming show, Des. Brooke Burke. She lives here in the Valley part-time.
Yes. How lucky are we?
She's such a nice person. I was just visiting with her a little bit. Of course, everybody in the country remembers her from Dancing with the Stars. She's had a lot of other appearances and shows, TV shows and movies, magazines, etc. So that's coming up in about 15 minutes' time. But did the storm get to your house last night, Des?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah, we needed it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I slept through it all, though. I mean, so it didn't bother me any.
Yeah. Do you do you put earplugs in or anything like? Do you run a white noise machine?
No,
None
God,
of
no.
that?
Ron, I am so dreadfully exhausted every single time my head hits the pillow.
Yeah.
I'm no problem sleeping.
Well, I
so
sleep
thank
through
God.
most storms, and last night it woke me up.
It did?
Yeah, I think it was
Wow.
around 10 o'clock when it was just really kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Wow.
And
I put the kids down, and then I had the shades down, but through the shades I could see on the side the flashes of light, and I go, what is going on?
Were they scared at all?
No.
Okay, well,
no.
a little bit.
My son wanted to act like he was. I think it was just an excuse to come crawl in the bed with me.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
We have some great video. We're going to start with this one right here. Sky Fox flying overhead. You can still kind of see the dust on the horizon. Now, this will answer the question once and for all. You have to look. It's on the left-hand side of the screen, but you can see it was a lower profile desert dust storm that this time came in well after sunset. And if you've ever wondered what it would look like in the nighttime hours flying over the city, now you've got the answer.
Exactly. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it actually is really cool. I mean, you look on YouTube and some of these videos that people have posted, I mean, we're talking about 50,000, 75,000 views. People all over the country are just fascinated, just like back in 2011 when we had the really big one. It's the same situation again. Here's what it looked like and sounded like up in the Desert Ridge area when it finally started pouring rain. You know, the interesting thing about it, there's the lightning and the thunder, but it almost sounds like it was more of a gentle rain. But there were places, Krystal visited with us last hour, Des, and there was a spot up in that Desert Ridge area around the 51 and the 101 that got 1.2 inches of rain last night. Whew. When you consider that our rainfall for the whole year is supposed to be, what, in the 6 to 7 inch range? You get that much in one night. That's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. But the rain is welcome here, right?
Yes,
always. I mean,
so
of course,
much.
It's devastating when we wake up and we see any damage left behind by the monsoon. That's, not welcome. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Haven't met a person yet who isn't excited about some good rainfall.
Right. Well, we ran a poll this morning on TV, and the question was, are you done? This is the second time we're giving you every opportunity to tell us
to
you're
change
done.
your mind.
But over 90% said, no, keep it coming, finally. And the wild thing about this one, Des, is, having been here and been on the air for more than 40 years, it generally is proven true that one night after a storm, the next night there's just not enough moisture or energy in the air to fire one up. But this last week or so, it literally feels like every single night something's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, good for us, right?
Right.
And Krystal is saying we just have chances, really, I think the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. So, of course, Sky Harbor. I didn't look at Sky Harbor's number yesterday, but I wouldn't be at all shocked if they got a trace.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, honestly, we got to move that gauge somewhere else.
Where's that weather balloon?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they, for whatever reason, they're in kind of an urban dry island right there. But anyway, we saw damage. We hate to see that. We saw a lot of people's trees just ripped right out of the ground, knocked over.
You didn't have any damage, did you?
No, but in the first big one, which was Monday night a week ago now, so about 10 days ago, I was pretty sure a couple of trees were going to pop right out of the ground. I mean, they were really, really lean.
They hung in there?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was happy about
There's
that.
hope yet for them.
This is the first time in a long time that we've lived in a house where we don't have a swimming pool. We used to have one. And so this is, of course, an hour's worth of work. Every time there's a dust storm, you got to go out and clean the pool.
I don't got to clean the pool.
Yeah. Well,
I got a husband for.
Somebody you know has to go clean it.
David has to clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad.
Yeah, but
But do I?
It's nice to be kind of through that whole part of life.
Yeah,
I will
pools
just say.
are a lot to maintain,
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
sure
You got to
are.
clean them out, though. You don't want
Yeah.
that water going bad.
Well, there are plenty of reasons to live here, that's for sure. And when I moved here to the Valley in the early 1980s, there were 1 million people. Now, if you add up Maricopa County with Pinal County, which, I mean, it just spills right over into Queen Creek and Apache Junction, and pretty much even Florence is in our metro area now. And that's how you get, there's another 500,000 there. So that's 5 million total. 5
And look
million
at how it's
people
grown.
live here.
Can you believe it? Would you ever imagine that it was going to become what it is today?
Why wasn't I smart enough 40 years ago to just buy like 20 acres of land and just sit on it?
Well, you and me both. Why didn't I think about moving to Arizona before
Yeah, I know.
2020?
Anyway, so our friends at WalletHub, we love touching base with them. Every so often they come up with a study or a survey that they dig into. They put a lot of work into it, and especially when one or two places in the Valley seem to come out very well. So we thought what we would do is bring in Chris Lupo. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, Chris. Good to see you again.
Good morning, folks. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, too. Okay, so you came up with a new study on the best places to retire. Now, I'll just say, in our audience, I'm sure we have plenty of people who are 55 plus, and they're going to kind of hone in on what you have to say. But then a lot of us also have either parents or grandparents that we would love to convince to move here. So I think no matter what age you are, you really want to kind of hone in on what you have to say. Tell us what you guys learned.
First of all, I think probably the excitement over thunderstorms would be a reason. I was kind of tickled at your excitement, enthusiasm over the thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Here in central middle of South Carolina, we call that summer.
Oh, is that right? Are you in Columbia or Lexington or where?
I'm in Columbia, right
Nice.
outside of Columbia. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, for a while there, my grandkids were living right next door to you in Lexington, which is a pretty little town.
Chris is like,
Yeah.
you see that all the time.
Well, Lexington is like many of the metro areas that you spoke of earlier that have just exploded. It went from a population of probably 4,000 or 5,000 to like twice that in just a number of years.
Sure, yeah. Well, it helps that they have an adorable little downtown. But let's talk about the big names on your big survey. Top 5 places in the USA. Why don't you run through it for us?
Sure. Well, what we did is that what we tried to do is try to make it as comprehensive as possible to kind of break away from the conventional wisdom of just on impulse, just moving wherever the weather's nice, kind of roll in some other factors. And given the economy of recent years, people are starting to look under the hood and explore some other factors when it comes to finding a place to retire. And the top 5, and you're going to be surprised here in a second when we go through them.
Okay.
Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Your neighbor, Scottsdale, Arizona, number 2.
Okay.
Oh.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 3. Surprise. Miami, Florida at 4, and Tampa, Florida at number 5.
Really?
Okay.
Miami? It's expensive.
Yeah, what are the criteria that you actually used?
Well, what we did, again, trying to break it down into factors other than just weather. Now, It's 180 plus cities that we compared across 4 dimensions: affordability, activities, quality of life, and healthcare. Now, the reason that you see 3 of the top 5, and also Scottsdale to some degree, is that weather aside, yes, Miami is very expensive because of in Miami, but there's a lot to do in Miami for seniors. It's very senior friendly. And also Florida, benefit of just being in Florida, there's no state income tax, no inheritance taxes, and no estate taxes, which is people are starting to pay a little bit more attention to that now, when particularly folks who are on fixed incomes who are looking for ways to stretch their retirement dollars. So that's becoming a huge factor in deciding where to move to retire.
I'm actually not that shocked that Minneapolis did well. I'm going to sing its praises because I was just up there a couple of weeks ago. What I loved is that downtown area. I mean, I walked out of they have the original Hell's Kitchen. Ever before the TV show. It's an amazing breakfast place. I walked out of there, and within about 6 minutes, I was at the Twins ballpark. Took in a ball game that afternoon, and there's just a lot of things to do.
Well, that's the difference between Metro Minneapolis and Metro Phoenix. It's very walkable.
Yeah.
You can walk around because they have what's in Minneapolis what are known as skyways, which is when you get blizzards and 30 degrees below zero temperatures, you have to figure out a way to get in between these office buildings. So they're basically like pedestrian walkways. Now, what Minneapolis has going for it, and I was surprised at first, but once I kind of looked under the hood, it's like, well, maybe Minneapolis is a solid choice now. Ideally, no one wants to retire there for the sub-zero winters, but Minneapolis has world-class healthcare. The Mayo Clinic is there, and healthcare facilities are top-notch. There's plenty of access. And also, has a robust senior job market. Now, when a lot of folks retire, most folks don't want to spend the rest of their retirement years, maybe a lot do, just playing golf all day. Some people want to take on a second job or another job, if not to supplement their income, but at least for the social aspect of it. When you work 30 or 40 years, you probably don't know what to do with yourself if you have nothing literally to do. So you take on another job again, just for the social aspect. And again, sometimes maybe just to supplement your income a little.
Well, we're just about out of time.
Yeah. No, and I was going to say, Chris, I just wrote a story, actually, Ron, on Mirabella at ASU. It's a university-based retirement community.
Yeah.
It's pretty unique, but we in the interviews that we had for the story, folks were saying, I don't want to be bored in retirement.
Right.
I want to learn something new. I want to go to a musical or a theatrical performance. So, those things make sense.
Christopher,
you want to stay busy.
Yeah, we thank you for your time. I think we all learned a lot from you, like we always do, so we hope you'll join us again. And Des, I think you're exactly right. Either work or education or something to keep the brain going.
Yeah, regular involvement in hobbies or, whatever it is.
Mystery Cam, and ladies and gentlemen, we're just a few minutes away from Brooke Burke herself. Did you know she lives here in the Valley part of the time? We'll be right back.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. Welcome aboard. If you're just tuning in, we've got Brooke Burke coming up in about 60 seconds. But first, Des, we are getting some guesses. I like Lil Philosophy saying, let's see, where'd Lil Philosophy go? She was just there a second ago. Or he was just there.
Hang on. The whole chat
Indiana.
just jumped.
Okay, we got you, buddy. Let's see. Look at this.
Charles David, Tennessee.
And Charles
Good
is
guess.
also saying, happy early birthday, Brooke. Okay, look, we're going to bring Brooke in right now as our special guest. When's your birthday?
September 8th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your fans would know this, right?
I love that. I guess, my fans know a lot more than I'll admit. Thank you for that birthday wish. I appreciate it.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't realize it's coming up so fast.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the mystery cam one more. You can jump in and guess too, Brooke. Now, you're in Arizona and you were born in Tucson.
Yep. Born on the East Coast, but grew up in Tucson and now a resident here as well. So
Yeah, that's so
I'm
great.
home.
Yay, that's so exciting.
Linda is in she's guessing Michigan. She lives out in Safford and Thatcher.
Lee Miguel thinks it might be Texas.
Okay, I can see in Iowa from Louis Gonzalez. Charles David's on Tennessee.
It looks like a golf resort, maybe. What are we looking
Yeah,
at?
I do think I see a golf course there.
Oh, Dave is very specific with his guess.
Okay.
Davenport, Iowa.
Oh, is that right? Part of the Quad
That's what he's
Cities.
guessing.
Gotta love those Quad Cities. Let's just see here. I think Brooke is onto something. There's some golfing going on, but I don't see any palm trees, so I'm not going to go Florida.
Right.
I think, what do you want to do, Brooke? Just
I
a
don't
state.
know.
You don't have to name the city, any state.
This could even be California. This could be Valley and one of the golf resorts out there. I'm looking at the horizon.
Okay.
Trying to identify this little industrial lot.
My gosh. You know, the other thing that's cracking me up, here's Jordan Grew. You guys are going to totally just dominate this interview with Brooke, because here's Jordan saying, Brooke, any bets for the opening night of the NFL?
Oh, the NFL. Yeah, I saw that one.
Cowboys, Eagles. Come on, Brooke. Really?
Let's go, Eagles.
Okay. Are you a big Eagles fan? Or you just don't like the Cowboys?
No, I'm just going for the Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just going with the winners, the ones who win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, here we go with the answer, Desiree. Let's see what we came up with here.
It is Bettendorf,
Okay.
Iowa?
Yeah, so that is one of the 4 Quad Cities.
All right.
So,
Dave, you were pretty good guess there.
Yeah, that's
nice.
Dave in Davenport. Okay, so our executive producer, Dave, Big D as we call him, told us a couple of days ago.
Dave.
Do you?
Yeah,
He's
Dave.
this guy right here. There you go.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dave.
He's our one guaranteed studio audience member
I love it.
every
We've
day.
got a couple
He
today.
comes through
Yeah,
big time,
we do.
though. Yeah.
So anyway, Dave told us a few days ago that you were going to be available. Are you in Arizona a lot of the time? You split your time between here and California, right?
Yeah, I'm in Malibu. I'm not here as much as we would like, but more and more lately, and building out a whole wellness program here. So there's a lot of reasons for me to be in town, but I love the desert.
Yeah.
Grew up in Tucson. My daughter just started at the U of A. My family is still there, but it always feels like home here for me.
We
so much.
We
So
just
many
had the
reasons.
athletic director. She is going to be making a lot of changes there at U of A.
Okay.
On our show earlier this morning, she is a real go-getter. She's going to make that program solid as can be.
I'm
So,
happy to hear
do you
that.
also
Yeah.
root for the Wildcats, or what's your when college
I don't
plays?
follow a lot of college sports,
you do?
but I'm
Okay.
about to start because obviously, it's full circle, and my fiance also graduated from the U of A. So it's interesting
so
how
now you're gonna
everybody.
have to.
I know I have
Yeah,
to, and
now-
everything
yeah.
kind of goes full circle, right? My
Right,
daughter
yeah.
ends up where I grew up, so that's
Yeah.
really special.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you do have this app. Let's find out a little bit about that, because I think one of the things you're known for is your physical fitness and your overall health levels. What can we learn?
Well, Brooke Burke Body started out as a fitness app, and now it's really a campus for education. It's mindfulness, intentional wellness. Fitness is probably the most obvious part of it, but it's really based on community. I love it. We have team trainers and live streams, and I'm able to produce content for a community that's really connected. And that sort of segued into the wellness space for me. And so now I've been able to build out retreat programs all over the globe, which I'm super passionate about. And one of the reasons why I keep coming back to Carefree.
So, I mean, how, right, the question that a lot of working moms get, especially of your stature, I mean, you've got fitness, you've been a host, Dancing with the Stars, you've done a little bit of everything. And that question I'm sure you get a lot is, how do you do it all? But really, how do you do it all? And what keeps you motivated to keep doing it and working on new projects?
I always giggle inside about this question because
Right.
I
It's hard
don't
to
do it all.
answer.
It is hard to answer. And, you know, the short story really is I don't do it all, and I don't do it all perfectly, but I've learned to dance through the chaos, and I've learned to manage it.
Ooh, I like that quote.
Yeah.
Dancing through the chaos.
Life is chaotic,
Yes,
right?
it
So when
is.
you learn to
Right.
manage it, the highs and the lows, I think that's when you begin to succeed, and it's freeing. But through wellness, I'm able to build a foundation where I can sort of reset and learn better tools and learn how to navigate the more challenging times in life. And, you know, most people know me from the entertainment business, but my real passion is this project that I'm working on right now, and being able to share those tools. And not sort of gatekeep those little tips and tricks and secrets, if you will, but being able to educate the value of that and how we improve our energy, how we lower our stress levels, how we deal with anxiety, how we reset and reboot. It's sort of like updating your inner software in a way, if you will. This wellness picture is far beyond fitness.
So give us a couple of pointers. I mean, what can we learn from you right now? Of course, I'm going to go check out your app and everything else, but
Thank you
I
for
mean,
that.
what are some real practical tips for everyday living now?
Well, you know, this weekend we're unpacking this concept of the body blueprint, and it's a new program and the first of a new series that I'm launching at the CIVANA Wellness Resort and Spa. That's why I'm in town this weekend.
Okay.
But it's really all about finding your true north. It's about finding that true north and learning how to navigate that journey. And where are you going? What are you taking with you? What are you carrying in your journey bag that's too heavy that you might need to unpack? Who's there with you? What are the pivotal moments? What are the stop signs, the road signs? It's sort of like an inner roadmap back to joy, back to contentment, back to happiness. So if you think about this blueprint that we all have inside of all of us and how we can introduce different modalities to help us get there, longevity, more energy, a greater sense of vitality, more clarity, more the ability to be more productive in life through fitness, through workshops, through meditation, through yoga. You know, that big picture for me is about guiding people on a journey to teach them how to, you know, discover their passion, to live a happier life.
Yeah, and thank God that, you know, you are doing things like that. You're like speaking to me, Brooke.
Okay, good.
Also a mom of 4
Come and join
here,
us.
7 months postpartum
Oh my
with
goodness.
number 4.
So there's not many of us that are mothers of 4.
No, we're unique. And I have
Okay.
twins.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, I have
Okay, you've
twins
got
in the
me beat.
middle.
Yeah.
So wild, but no way.
Right. Let's just
No,
say
but-
4 for now. Where
Why?
I-
He is
Wait a
insistent
minute.
on 5. He's
My
going to give me
son-
half his salary before
My
I
son
agree
Jordan
to having one
and
more.
Kelsey, they have 5, and they couldn't be happier.
this is
These
amazing.
large families, I think, are becoming almost like more in vogue or something.
Yeah. You know, it really is interesting. I think we learn from our children. I think
you
my
do learn a
greatest
lot,
life
yeah.
lessons are the things that I have learned from raising a family. I have 4, but I also acquired 2 from my fiance. So we're like a big brood, and then there's
Yeah.
friends and boyfriends and significant others. So it's a squad, and I learned so much from them. And it kind of brings us back to community. And I think that fitness isn't an isolated journey. And so when you drop into a community, and if you're lucky as a woman to have that sort of inner circle where you can story tell and learn from one another and evolve and explore. I mean, that's one of the things that I really love about CIVANA is it's built on community and choice and wellness and really taking, I guess, back taking ownership of how we spend our time, especially as a busy woman and mom.
Right. And if we carve out that time, we want it to be intentional, meaningful, and impactful to our lives because, you know, we don't have a lot of free time to spare.
And we have to steal time or make time.
Right. Yeah. Right. Or pay for the time. So,
Exactly.
you know,
Just
someone
get
else can
it.
watch the kids. But speak more on that. So it's happening this weekend
Yes.
at CIVANA. Is it too late for folks to get involved and
Day
join?
passes are available. So if you're watching this and there's a little voice inside that's telling you you need to do something for yourself and experience a retreat, we'll figure it out. We'll find a way for you. Today is day 1, and it's the first day of a new series that will be a long-term series with myself and a partnership with CIVANA. So we will be introducing new concepts and quite a variety over the course of the next few years. This one is the Body Blueprint, and we will be doing workshops, journaling, meditation, fitness, yoga, sound baths, really doing a deep dive back to self. And I want to just say to a woman like you, like when you lose the sense
Don't
of that
make
woman,
me cry, Brooke.
no, but crying is okay too. But when you need to meet that woman behind the scenes again, because you're giving and you're raising and you're a working woman, you're a mom, you're a partner. Like our output.
Ooh, okay. Yep, she did it.
Oh,
She
boy.
did it.
Okay.
That's
well,
not
yes.
the goal.
Well, especially when you're postpartum, you're working. It's tough.
And you know what?
It's
When
tough.
there are
you don't have that moment of pause.
And when there are emotions, it's because you probably haven't asked yourself lately, really, truly, how am I doing? Who am I right now? How am I showing up? Where am I sitting in the madness of this workspace, right? And the demands of
Des
life.
is going to be a puddle of tears, and we still have 3 minutes left in the show.
I love it. And you know how when you meet people that just speak to you, and that's why I think it's great you have this platform where, if someone doesn't have that personal person, that person in their lives, like tools like this,
It's so true.
it's
Listen,
incredible.
I want to compliment you because to be emotional,
stop.
and to be vulnerable is to be alive. And the work that we do through the retreat space, it's not all woo-way and woo-hoo. It's about meeting yourself and having the freedom and a safe space to be vulnerable, a safe space to be curious, a safe space to ask those questions. And I hold space for women all over the world. One of the reasons that I love being at CIVANA is because it's a playground for self-care. It's a space for self-love. And there are guides and leaders and experts of all different fields there. And it's a place to come and just meet yourself again at a minimum.
I love it.
Is
I
the
love
best
it.
way to
I'm
go
all for
to
it.
your app to get the details, or what?
So the app is a digital platform.
Yeah.
The best place is to go to CIVANA or even to go on brookeburke.com where you can look at a menu of possibilities and then to explore your journey and book a retreat, whether it's with me or somebody else, by the way.
Yeah.
We're worthy
Something
of
to
doing
think
this
about.
work.
Well, we only have 1 minute left, so let me just get right
Ron's
to
like,
look.
I didn't expect it to go there.
Here's Johnny, and he says, "Hey, Brooke, thank you for getting my son away from video games and into mindfulness about food, exercise, play, and joyfulness with family."
That's amazing.
I love that.
How cool is that?
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And, this work is so important and we have to do it and we're worthy of doing it. So find a way, everybody. Find me.
great.
Find CIVANA. Come and play with us.
Yeah, Charles says it's work, but it's the best work. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we have to already wrap up. Our whole 15 minutes came and went like that. We'll
But
have
to be
You
continued
can
for
stay,
us.
Brooke. Yeah, we're going to
for
chat
sure.
a little longer.
Yeah, no kidding. All right,
Thank you
Brooke.
for having
thank
me.
you so
Yeah,
much.
what a
And now that
special
we know
guest.
you're just up the road and carefree, we'll probably call on you a little more often.
I would love to come back
Yeah, for
and we'll
sure.
continue
We'd
that
love to have you back.
conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
That's Fox 10 Talks for today. You can scrub backwards on YouTube and watch the whole 2 hours. Thanks again, Brooke, and we'll see you all
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Ah!